Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday's Transformational Tip. My name is Kimberly. I'm a certified meditation teacher. And today I wanted to do a video for you guys because I think it could be really valuable to someone. Even if it helps one person, it would be worth it for me. But having said that, I waited a very long time to do this video because healing for this comes in many different layers, I would say. And so I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a backdrop to how I healed my depression, like how it was for me in my life when it started. What's the background for that, just briefly. And then I'll go into explaining how I healed it. But I really want to let you know that this is a story I'm going to tell from the perspective of what I realize now, not how it was when I was going through it, although it was very foggy when I was going through it. So now I have so much more clarity having come through it. And there are many different points of the story, many different layers that came off, I would say. And the last layer that came off is not very long ago, within like a month ago. And so that's one of the reasons why I held off doing this video. I still felt like there was a little layer left and it recently just let go. And so let's jump right into it. How I healed the depression that I had. I don't like to say my depression, but for the sake of this video, how I healed my depression. Okay. So I'll start off by saying that I grew up with a parent who was very, very, very depressed. And so the energy of the house was very, very heavy, always. And I didn't know it at the time. Now looking back, I see how heavy it was. Me, myself, I grew up very empathic, sensitive, creative. I love to meditate a lot. And so I was I took in energy super easily. And so being in that environment was heavy for me. I didn't see any, and by the way, I don't blame this person because it's a wonder that person can even function in this life, having gone through the trauma. So I consider myself, I got off a little bit lucky, I would say, or a lot better off than this person did. So I just want to say that to get that out of the way. There's a lot of compassion around that now, but I'll explain that after. So I started seeing signs of depression when I was 15. And then it got worse as the years went on, as I got into relationships and such. And then I found this amazing career as a flight attendant, which I worked for 10 years. And so while I was working, I was so happy. It was like, the most amazing career ever. I flew all over the world. I met so many people. I was very happy there. But when I went home and I was alone, it was like the cloak came on and I couldn't do much it could be 12 days straight. And so with that came a lot of escapism through substances like alcohol, and then through that was eating disorders, but that's going to be a whole different video. But just to say what was kind of all through that, and the worst of it hit after I had kids. And some people could say it's hormones. Yes, for sure, probably that, but a lot of it was I was getting a mirror back at me real quick of I didn't realize how depressed I was. When I was depressed in my 20s and my early 30s, I didn't realize how bad it was until I had kids. And I realized I had to be up and functioning. I had to feed them. I had to bathe them. I had to be there for them. I had to cater to every single thing. And that's where I realized I couldn't. And I remember one night, after putting them to sleep, my boy was 2, my girl was 6 months, and I came downstairs. And I sat on the floor and I cried, and I just felt like how horrible for them to have me as a mother. And sorry, And I remember just feeling like lying on the floor, just feeling heavy and lifeless and weighted and dark, and I just didn't want to go on any longer. And the only thing that saved me that night from thinking the darkest thoughts was, I'm a mother. I have to do better for them. And that became my why, to heal myself. And something said to me, get up, it's going to be okay, get up. It was a feeling I had. And so I did, and I started to move forward and do anything I could. That was around the time that I started meditating, and I started doing things like tapping. I read all the books, listened to all the seminars, did all the techniques, you know what I mean? And it all helped. But I would say the blanket tool that saved me by far was meditation. And so that's why I became a certified meditation teacher at the end of the day. I fought it for a very long time. I didn't want to do it. I didn't think that what I had to say was relevant or useful. And I realized that my passion was just being in that state and cultivating that, and the transformational journey that goes along with it, I just loved. And because I introspect so deeply, I just felt a calling to share what I know, and that's what Tuesday's Transformational Tip is all about, that whole journey. And so what I did to heal, okay, so that was all the backdrop, and the tool I used was mostly meditation and tapping, and I'll explain kind of how I did it. In hindsight, like, what did I work on? What did I tap on? How did it go away? I think in hindsight, I'll speak for me because I don't know if everyone experiences the same way, but I'll speak from my perspective and maybe it can help. For me, I had a boatload of shame that I was carrying around this person that I talked about earlier, around all the subjects of life, finances, relationships, being a woman, taking care of myself, around all the subjects, well-being, fitness, so around all of it, I had so much shame. And I don't know if any of you know this, but being around someone depressed is so lonely. It is so lonely. I always had these feelings of abandonment and feeling alone and rejected, and my self-worth was in the shitter. And so what I started to do was I started working on the shame that I had all around all of those subjects. And I started with the most obvious shame that I felt. And then as time went by, it went into more subtle shame. So this is my hindsight version of, it was actually, I would say it was shame around these subjects, but it was really the shame, the energetic feeling. I felt somehow responsible for this person, that maybe it was my fault or that I could have done something. So for years, I spent my time trying to fix something that I couldn't fix. And so there was like always that cord, that feeling that I always had towards that person. And that's what was recently lifted for me. I realized I had a deep realization along with some events that had unfolded, that I am not responsible for this person. I can help people through being light myself, or being compassionate myself, or being loving myself. But at the end of the day, everyone's running their own race. Everyone's running their own path. And so that was a realization for me, but it was so on the outskirts of my awareness. I didn't see it. I couldn't see it, that I was feeling like things were my fault. I didn't know. It just came in a feeling of weight and just this weight. I don't know how else to explain it, but weight and darkness. It felt like a heavy cloak was on me, and I couldn't get it off. But as I worked through all the shame, layers of it started coming. I started feeling more lively. I started noticing things about myself I didn't notice before in a good way. So the things I didn't need started to fall away. People that were kind of in alignment with that darkness started to fall away. I started feeling less like doing those things. Addiction started to go away. I felt like taking care of myself more. I started, doing things like fixing my hair and taking care of myself more. I started taking way more attention for my children, like really started to feel like I'm of service to them, which is what I always wanted. Like even scrubbing a toilet, I know this is going to sound really ridiculous, but even just scrubbing a toilet, I made it into a service for them, for my family. And I can honestly say that right now, I feel like I'm all right. I don't ever say good mother, bad mother, because mothers have it so hard as it is. And I think that everyone's doing their best with what they know and what they're aware of. And so I was too, but I knew something could be better. And when I started getting through the healing of all of that, it was amazing how much lighter I felt, how much more I felt like doing things, how much more I cooked, and the last 10% of it that recently came off within like about a month ago. It's the first time I woke up in the morning before my alarm clock with pep in my step, with like, what am I doing today? Like I felt light, I felt happy, I felt so good inside. I felt satisfied with myself. I felt like I've never felt before. I felt like what I used to wish I felt like, what I thought it might feel like to not be depressed. And it actually started happening and it hasn't gone away. And so I know it was the last part of that. I'm not saying that I won't ever have a bad day again, but what I'm talking about in this video is not a bad day. It's not a tragedy after a relationship broke up, or it's not grief. It's not any of that. It's just that dark, heavy, for no reason feeling that follows you around like a cloak on your back. I could differentiate, and I can differentiate between having an emotional day, having a hormonal day, having a sad moment because you realize you have to let something go. It was not all of that. It was depression. I did not use any treatment because I didn't realize how bad it was. I don't know if I would actually have used treatment if I had realized how bad it was. I might have. But it seems like it was really bad, but I didn't know how bad it was. And nobody around me knew. They just thought I was like uninterested. I heard the comment lazy. I heard uninterested. I heard you don't want to be a part of the team. I was shamed a lot for it in the very beginning. Those were factors that were motivating me to figure out what was wrong with me and figure out how to make it better for myself. And the why of it for me was I wanted my children to grow up and have what I didn't have, emotionally speaking, like awareness speaking. And so that was my push. And I also felt, I will say, I felt some kind of calling to move forward into my calling, into my purpose. So there was like the why that I had, which was I want my children to grow up and have what I didn't have. I want to be able to give them that. The other side of it is I had this calling that was kind of pushing me forward and gave me strength sometimes when I didn't have it. And so I thought really long and hard about doing this video. I hope I didn't forget anything, but I'm sure I did. So if anyone has any questions, please ask me. I'm trying to think of anything else that I forgot. I feel absolutely better. I feel so much better. Meditation as a base is an amazing blanket tool. It will deal with things on levels that you don't even know what's happening. It just comes out in hindsight. You'll just start feeling more aware. It brings awareness, it brings clarity. So you start becoming aware and more clear of things you're stuffing down and connections that you're having that are beyond your awareness, that are not healthy. Like all these things start becoming, they start being brought to the light. And then as the tool of coming into the moment, the practice of coming into the moment starts to dissipate all of that weight inside. So for me, that's what loosened a lot of it. And when something was really, really overwhelming, I used tapping as a tool, and that also released a lot of shame. I don't use that as much anymore. I've really settled into meditation as my go-to. I meditate a lot, but I use techniques, breathing techniques during the day when I feel emotions coming over me, even if it's feeling a sadness, a grief about who I used to be and how that person's gone. As weird as it sounds and crazy as it sounds, yes, I do have moments where I have grief about the person I used to be and that person's gone now. And so, but at the same time, I feel happy. Like, oh, I used to be that person and now I'm on the other side and I feel so much better and I'm just so grateful. I have so much gratitude in me all the time, every day. Even when I'm washing a toilet, like nothing to me passes gratitude. Because when you go from feeling like maybe some of you are feeling like I used to feel, and then you go to feeling great, fantastic, light's the word that keeps coming to me. Light, I have this lightness about me. I don't take anything for granted, not even scrubbing a toilet, not scrubbing the floors, not catering to everyone. Even when I'm tired in the evening and I have the whole day in me, I still feel grateful for having worked through all of that, and now I'm on the other side. And so I don't know if some of you feel like it's not possible for me to heal this, I can't heal this. I did. I don't know if you can, because I don't know what your why is. I don't know what you're holding on to, how willing you are to let go. I was very willing to heal. I was very willing to do whatever I had to do. I went at my healing relentlessly. So it takes a lot of courage, a lot of courage. But the way I saw it is the darkness was heavier than any of the other stuff. Dealing with shame coming back up was nothing compared to that weight that I felt all the time that made me lifeless. So this is just my journey. It is how I did it. And I respect that everyone has a different path and a different reasons and different traumas and different paths. And I have so much compassion for all of you. And I have compassion for everyone in my past that brought me through that. But if you look at me, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. If you seek the healing and you take yourself up on that journey, it gets better and better and better. How long did it take me? I can hear some of you saying that. How long did the whole thing take me? A lot of it lifted in the first year. A lot of it lifted in the first year. And then after that, it was layer by layer by layer. It kept getting better and better and better and better and better. I felt so much better all along the way. The last 5 years have been really good, but there was still that little 10% left. It wasn't, I would still say I felt really good with that 10%, but now I feel just like, almost like I can fly with that 10% gone. Like, this is amazing. Like, we can feel like this. And it's not a high after one day, because I've had those highs after an epiphany for 2 days, 3 days. This has been a month or more, a little bit more than a month now. And I still feel the same way. I feel the same way. And I've had a dip in emotional states, but that bottom of lightness has always still stayed there. It bounced back really quickly. And I have way more of an optimistic outlook than I did before. So I don't know how much this video made sense. I hope that it has been helpful. I'm going to do different videos for other things that I've healed, but I want to give each video the spotlight for that, just in case that's what you're dealing with and you don't have the other things to deal with that I did, like the self-sabotage stuff, the really deep self-sabotage stuff. So I really hope it was a tough video to make. Like I said, I didn't take it lightly. I hope that it helps you. If you have any questions or you want to ask me anything specific about this and you want it confidential, info@kimberlypatey.com. I would be more than happy to give you more insight on something that you'd really like to know detailed about my journey that I haven't mentioned, because I kind of like breezed over it. After all, it's like a 20-minute video. So I really hope that it serves you. And if you have any questions, please drop me a line. I would be more than happy to help you. So yeah, so I will see you on the next video. And if you want any, if you like this video and you want more like them, just hit the subscribe button. It would help me out, and you will get a reminder for the next video that I put out. So thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye.